And we are back live Monday morning, Monday quarterback, however you want to spin it. 2-game slate, Monday Night Football. You're listening to the Sports Gambling with Moneyline Monaco podcast. We are live on TikTok at Moneyline Monaco across all social media, at Alex Monaco on Twitter. Let me dive in here to a sensational Monday night matchup. Lions hosting the Seattle Seahawks. And this is a back and forth game that a lot of people have gone, and we've seen line movement here. We've seen sharp money come in early on the Seahawks plus 4.5. We've seen it go down to 3.5. I see it now chilling at 4. This is pending where you shop. This is a very fickle spread tonight and a fine line between where the bookmakers have it, how it's juiced on different books based off the spread. Now, at the moment, I see plus 4.5 on FanDuel, juiced a little more to the Seahawks plus 4.5 at minus 115, then to the Lions at minus 4.5 at minus 105. You go to DraftKings, it's at 4, juiced evenly on both sides. Obviously, we're shopping for the best number podcast at the moment, although it has had sponsorship for 3 years. No FanDuel, no DraftKings, no BetMGM ties. So we are shopping like a bachelor. Call it Trader Joe's, Whole Foods. I digress. We are off a 3-1-1 weekend. We are 7-2-1 in our last 10 picks on weekends. NFL Week 3, NFL Week 4. If you've cashed with me, please subscribe, rate, review. Goes a long way. We really saw the board very clearly yesterday. Just dialed in. Bucks without any hesitation. We lost on the hook with the Falcons. I said on the Barton Hahn show on Friday, favorite bet was Ravens minus 2.5. Call it a smash spot. That was sweat-free by Broadway intermission. Josh Allen running around. We got questions about that personnel as we move forward as far as the cream of the crop in the AFC. Cash with ease on the Jets and the Broncos under. Only game we lost, we had the 7 with the Chargers, which was the correct side. And if you did get it in time, you got 7.5 earlier in the week. And if you got the Falcons in time on the Saints, you cashed. So as far as my picks, 5-0 if you got it early in the week, 3-1-1 if you didn't. Just letting you know who you're listening to as we push it forward. So Seahawks own the Lions, 8 of the last 9. Seahawks won the shootout last year. You look at the narrative here. Seattle's 3-0. McDonald missed me on Jack in the Box. Up in the PNW. They got a top-tier pass D. They got a real defense now. They got a complete roster. Chill out. Pump the brakes. This is so difficult in betting to do your own thinking. It is so difficult in betting to back teams the previous week, whether you were for them or against them, get them wrong, come to the slate like it's a painting canvas and looking at it non-emotionally. Now, I've been pretty on point with the Lions here through 3 weeks if you've been following the program. Cashed them, one of my favorite plays last time they played football. Lions minus 3. If you were with me on week 3, Lions minus 3, Ravens over the Cowboys minus 1.5, even though I told you to take the money line. 2 favorite bets. Here we are. I'm calling this a 4-point line because I'm shopping where I am for today at the moment on this morning. Now, early money clearly came in on the Hawks because it pushed it from 4.5 down to 3.5. Now, looking at the look ahead, this is per covers. Total was around 48.5. Lions play a 2013 under. Now we're seeing at the moment 46.5 as the total pretty clearly over under across a couple of these top books. Now, Seahawks 24-3 win against the Dolphins. First time this year they cover the spread. Lions beat the Cardinals 20-13, 2-1 straight up, 2-1 against the spread. Lions games have cashed in all 3 unders. Now, this is important to note here. We're talking about the last 3 dances head to head, Seahawks Lions. Totals of 68, 93, and 70. I mean, you want to talk about a smash spot over, close your eyes, look at the head to heads, no brainer. Again, objects in mirror, bottom right corner are not as they appear. If it was this easy, you'd say, oh, I'll take the Seahawks. I'll take the over. This game's going to be a 1-possession game, and it's going to be another shootout. We have a McDonald defensive coach in Seattle now that is playing top shelf pass defense and is top 4 through 3 weeks of football at 14 points per game. We have a Lions defense that is tops right now in a couple of key categories. Again, sitting here looking good with an Aaron Glenn back defense. Aiden Hutchinson proven to be one of one here on the edge, flat out point blank. So we look at this third-ranked Lions D rushing, and you look at this top shelf airmail and attack again by an otherwise dialed-in Geno Smith, who apparently has a real D. Before we dive into the numbers, let's talk narrative. You got a Seattle Seahawks team. Ladies and gentlemen, I regret to inform you that beat a rookie quarterback at their place, Bo Nix, who, if you saw him throw a football at MetLife in the rain yesterday, and I tweeted it and it did all right, guy looked like a JV quarterback who used to play, telling you, oh, this is what I used to do. I couldn't complete a football in the rain at MetLife. They somehow win the game. Greg the Leg, I digress. Stick L. That's why we took the under in the Denver and the Jets game. But you go back, you think about how Bo Nix looked. And again, they covered that 6.5-point line. Vegas was on it week 1. Then they travel to New England. Let's just call it what it is. Ramondre Stevenson and the boys ran down their gullet, down their throat. And here we are with a Seattle defense that is significantly better at stopping the pass and stopping the rush through 3 weeks. But you got to run one road game, and you give up just a tick under 200 rush yards to a ground and pound team that has a significantly less offensive line personnel. If we're going overall Madden ratings, PFF ranked, this is the Lions' number 1 ranked offensive line per PFF Collinsworth paid tool resource. Now, no Frank Ragnow tonight. Huge. All-star center, Pro Bowl center. Huge. Still got some dudes. You still got Panay. You still got Taylor Decker. I mean, the fact that I can even name and rattle off 3 offensive linemen by name with the Lions shows you who they are. So here we go with the narrative. You have to go to overtime. Overtime to beat the New England Patriots. Let's look at the New England Patriots. I mean, they haven't been able to put the ball in the basket in 2 straight weeks. The New England Patriots have 16 points in 8 quarters. Is that an NBA bucket? A quarter? Quick math. I think that's an NBA bucket. A quarter. Quick math. This is a Seattle defense that allowed 20 points to a Patriots team in their lone road game. Antonio Gibson had 96 rush yards as the backup. Ramondre had 81. They posted 180 on your noggin. Do we know who David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs are? Do we know what Ben Johnson's going to cook up tonight? This is going to be Jared Goff's offense, ground and pound, but running it down the throat of the Seattle defense. I mean, you remember when Matty Stafford flipped the cap back, lost the coin toss, and the one drive that the Lions had? Let's say this comes down to the same exact instance as week 2 against the Rams. 4.5-point line. Lions at home, overtime, they win the coin toss. They get the rock. They get one drive. They run it down your gullet. This is going to be that game. Where are you with doubting the Lions offense? They're fourth in overall yards. They're fifth in passing offense, fourth to the Seahawks. I'll give them credit. And they're the fourth ranked offense in running the football at 163 through 3 weeks. At 163 through 3 weeks, they're going to give it to Montgomery. Then they're going to give it to Gibbs. Then Montgomery, then Gibbs. Stop the run. It won't happen. It just won't happen tonight. And that is the biggest discrepancy here in this game. And then the narrative of Seattle, who everyone is going to say, this is how everyone is going to look at this game tonight. Seattle owns the Lions. Seattle has a number one pass D. They're 3-0, and they're getting 4. I got to take Seattle. Look, I'm not saying the number is incorrect here. I think it's actually probably right on the money. That's why it's gone from 4.5 down to 3.5. I mean, you think about some of these standoff games already. They are so on the money in Vegas with these primetime spots. Look at the Cowboys. Look at the Giants. It was 4.5 opening line, moved to 5.5. That's the win and the loss difference when it lands on 5. Thank you, Aubrey, for shanking it right. So now let's talk betting trends here as we lay out the narrative of golf clap. Look, what you're 3-0. You did what you're supposed to do, Seattle. You won every game you played. But in all actuality, you beat Bo Nix, Jacoby Brissett, and Skylar Thompson. Now you're going against a guy who was top 3 in offensive production last year in the MVP conversation last year at his place with a top 3 run D and a Ford Field Monday night. You think this outing and atmosphere is a common theme here? Detroit's going to be rock city tonight, baby. Just as much as the PNW would be rocking if this was the roles reversed. Jared Goff at home, pissed off Lions crowd, ready to dance, feeling the Detroit Tigers playoff atmosphere in the air. The Lions are 5-1 in their last 6 home games. The Lions are 6-2 against the spread in their last 8 as a favorite. Jared Goff has won 8 straight night games. Shout out those trends from Cousin Sal. Check him out, FanDuel. One of the best convos in all of betting. Him and Bill chopping it up. And the Lions have covered the spread in 16 of their last 21 games. This team was top 1 2 years ago before they made the win-loss jump in the against the spread column. They went and crushed last year, and we're still a top 2 cover. They're one of these teams that continuously beats the market, beats the number in Vegas. So you got a team that's won and covered 16 of the last 21. They've won under Jared Goff 8 straight night games. They're 6-2 ATS in their last 8 as betting favorites. They're 5-1 in their last 6 home games. And then you want to go back, Danny Campbell, Jared Goff on at home, 19-7 against the spread at home since 2021. NFL.com betting trend. Hi, how are you? 73.1% to be exact against the spread at home since 2021. I mean, if you want to feel a little better about maybe back in the public side tonight, which is probably going to be the Lions, you got to really understand who we're backing. This is a game that the Lions are going to win. This is a game that the Seahawks are going to drop. It's just one of those games. And 68, 93, 70 total of the last 3 games. Seattle's won 8 of the last 9. I'm not sitting here saying that doesn't matter. But I'm also sitting here saying this could actually be a defensive game. This could actually be a chess match between McDonald and Glenn, between Benny Johnson versus McDonald. This is going to be interesting. But you also have to factor in turnovers if you're going off last year's win for Seattle. That was a 3-0 Lions turnover discrepancy. They lost a turnover battle 3-0. You lose a turnover battle in the NFL, you're going to lose football games. Just ask the Philadelphia Eagles. But you're looking at the Seattle Seahawks through 3 weeks. They haven't gone against a plus turnover differential team yet. So if they do not win the turnover battle tonight and it's just ball versus ball, let's say it's 0-0 in the turnover department, or it's a wash, 1-1 each, 2-2 each, what have you, and it comes down to just this team versus that team, time of possession, personnel, ball on ball, no turnover discrepancy here, I'm still backing the Lions. I can't sit here and want to take Seattle, who's 3-0, who is looking like they're invincible because they beat the Broncos, they beat the Dolphins with no quarterback, and they had to go to overtime to beat the Patriots. I'm not going to continue to repeat myself. Let's just remind ourselves. The Iowa State product, David Montgomery, 231 rush yards, top 10 through 3 weeks. Tied for third in rushing touchdowns with 3. 23 carries, 105, and a tutty last week against the Cardinals. Gibbs, 207 rushing, 76 receiving, 2 scores through 3 weeks. This is going to be not only a wonderful display of both these guys, this is going to be a potentially same game parlay for the boys to cash for the Lions on the ground. I don't see how we don't clear both numbers here. Looking at I'm going to go the FanDuel Sportsbook here. Look at the rushing props. I mean, how do you not back David Montgomery over 64.5 rushing yards tonight and Jahmyr Gibbs over 51.5? I think you have to do it. I think you put them both in an SGP and you consider backing them in a parlay. Gibbs and Montgomery might also be scoring. I like Montgomery on an anytime touchdown. I'm going to put an SGP together without question. Now, looking at a couple of other props that could be worth a thought. I think Amon-Ra St. Brown receptions could be big tonight. This could be a guy that ends up having maybe, I'm not going to say Malik Neighbors Thursday night type performance. He could get to double digits on the receiving prop side of things. This is a guy that when Goff links in and dials in on him, he stays with him the whole game, and he's around minus 146 for 7 receptions, but I do like him at plus money to get 8. And he's sitting there right now on the receiving side of things at about 75.5. I'm also looking at DK Metcalf, big play potential here, grown man amongst boys, 65.5 receiving yards. I think if there's 2 guys and 4 players I put together in an SGP only on props and yards, it's Montgomery, it's Gibbs, it's Metcalf, it's Amon-Ra. Kenneth Walker back, going to be very interesting to see how he goes against Hutchinson, DJ Reader in the top 3 rush team. But without question, we have to take the Detroit Lions tonight. We are taking the Detroit Lions with conviction. Now, Seattle's been pretty solid in their first halves. I got a number here from CBS Sports. But if you are nervous about the floor, I feel pretty comfortable that the Detroit Lions are going to win this first half of football. You can pair the Detroit Lions at minus 110. Normal juice, normal ticket master. I'm going to the ballet. Here's my fee. Lions win the half. Lions win the game. Just straight up, no spread, minus 110 FanDuel Sportsbook. Might have to be a ticket worth purchasing. Now, not really going to break down at all this Titans and this Dolphins game, but just reading the line here. Dolphins laying 2.5 at home. Over under 37.5. This is one of those games. It's so gross. It's so bad. And the Dolphins have looked so abysmal. It's got to be the Miami Dolphins at home, right? It's got to be the Miami Dolphins under 3. You think I'm taking Will Levis and mayonnaise, which I don't even like, on the road in a tough Hard Rock environment? They have looked so bad in Miami. So bad. But they've been embarrassed 2 straight weeks. You would like to think gut check game, step up. It's your entire season if you're Miami. Your entire season. I'd lean under, though, if I were to bet or smash a spot, 37.5 on the Scuba Steve under. And again, you're listening to the Moneyline Monaco pod. 3-1-1 against, I don't want to say against the spread because we took an under. 3-1-1 on the program yesterday. Cashed for you huge if you did follow me. And if you got numbers early, because I am on other programs throughout the week. -1.5 on the Falcons earlier in the week. Shout out the Juice Bar, my guy SL, cashed on that. Falcons -1.5. And at one point, Chargers were 7.5 during the work week. We landed on 7. It's a push for us. Some people got it. But other than that, we're talking about a half a point from a 5-0 slate. So seeing the board like I don't have contacts. It's the Detroit Lions -4, baby. Gibbs over rushing. Montgomery over rushing. I'm on raw 8+ receptions. DK over on the receiving yards. If I'm giving out 4 props, those are the 4 official. I'll tweet them out, put them in a little mix and mash parlay. This is the last day of September, people. Enjoy the brisk air. Pumpkin latte season. Pumpkin picking season. Don't forget to hug your mothers. It's a Detroit Lions Monday, baby. And we watch everything. So it's a side of New York Mets. Don't forget, subscribe, rate, review. Goes a very long way. Moneyline Monaco across all social media. Don't forget to hug your mothers. Ta-ta, real smooth. One pride,